I will finish what you started. Grant.
Hello everyone, and today I'm taking a look at Star Wars The Force Awakens. And before we start this review, I just want to show something off as well. That's right, I got my own color in the lightsaber. I just thought about showing it off, but still. Anywho, let's talk about The Force Awakens. This movie came out 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, and people were like, we finally have a Star Wars movie after 10 years, though technically 7 years if you count the Clone Wars movie, but still, who's counting anyway? But still, Force Awakens was released in 2015 and is one of the top 5 highest grossing films of all time, but let's see if this movie still holds up 4 years later. The plot of the film is that it takes place 30 years after the events of Return of the Jedi, where Luke is gone missing, and during this time, a new order has arose. That being the First Order, who was basically just the Empire, except, well, they're just the Empire 2.0. And during this time, Leia makes her own resistance to fight the First Order, but both of them are trying to find something, the map to Luke Skywalker. Both of them want to find Luke Skywalker, but for different reasons. The Resistance wants to find Luke Skywalker in order to bring peace back to the galaxy, while the First Order want to find Luke Skywalker to destroy him once and for all. And during this time, we meet new characters who are in for the ride. And yeah, that's basically the plot of the film, and while some people complain it's too similar to that of A New Hope, personally, for me, it doesn't really bother me as much, so yeah. But anyway, before we get into the reasons why I love Force Awakens, let me get into my one negative with this film. The Raftar scene. Man, oh man, the Raftar scene. It's not that bad of a scene, but you can tell this scene was there just to add runtime. This isn't a major issue, mind you, since this is something that happens in almost every Star Wars movie, like some of the stuff with the Ewoks in Return of the Jedi, like the dumpster scene in A New Hope, the conveyor belt fight scene in Attack of the Clones, the Gungan fight in Phantom Menace, but still, it's just that this scene breaks the pacing of the movie for me, because before this scene and after this scene, the pacing for this movie is absolutely perfect. The pacing felt just right. It didn't feel too short or too fast. It felt just right amount of time was focused on one specific thing. But for this scene, man, it just feels like they just wanted to put this scene in there just because they just wanted to fill up the runtime. And man, it really feels like that. It's still not that bad of a scene, but yeah, it just kind of breaks the pacing. But to be fair, after this scene, the rest of the movie's pacing is great, so yeah. But anyway, let's talk about the reason why I love this movie. First off, the special effects and of course, the practical effects look amazing. I'm not even joking. 4 years later, and this movie still looks gorgeous. All the special effects look amazing, and even the practical effects look outstanding. Because while I may love Revenge of the Sith, one problem I have with that movie is that you can kind of tell there are some scenes that felt like it was on a blue screen. But here, there was never a moment where I was like, okay, that's clearly CGI. I mean, sure, yes, in the spaceship battles, and of course when Circular Base was exploding, that was CG, but it felt real. And even the practical effects, like BB-8. I thought BB-8 was CGI, but when I found out that he was a real robot that was remote controlled, I was like, holy crap, BB-8 is fantastic, and BB-8 is an awesome droid. I mean, he is basically the new R2 of this franchise, but I'm not complaining, BB-8 is still awesome. And yeah, the best CGI in this movie, for me at least, is the stuff on Starkiller Base when it's destroying Republic planets. Because in the Alderaan scene in A New Hope, we knew there were people on Alderaan, but we didn't see them. Here, we see the people getting slowly destroyed. There's screams of terror as their planet is slowly burning to a crisp. And it's kind of a hard scene to watch. And also, fun fact for you, it kind of feels like a Third Reich speech that Hux is saying when he says, "This will be the last day of the Republic," and all the stormtroopers do a salute. I just thought it was like felt like a, I don't know, like a Nazi salute, but still. And also, I love the tiny detail they add in this movie, where how the lightsabers have like reflection on the person's skin. Like, for example, like when Finn pulls out the lightsaber, it leaves like blue markings on his skin. When Kylo Ren pulls out the lightsaber, it leaves like these red marks everywhere. It's a nice detail that I really do enjoy, because it was never in the other 6 movies. And yeah, it still looks amazing. Let's talk about another thing I love about this movie. The cast. They are all fantastic. Let's talk about the old cast first, because I'm not gonna lie. When Han said, "Chewie, we're home," I'm like, okay, yeah, that's Han Solo. Every scene with Harrison Ford in this movie is perfect. It feels like as soon as he showed up on screen, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's Han Solo. Because nowadays, Harrison Ford likes to do like this grumpy voice whenever he is. And don't get me wrong, he does that in this movie, but he still carries that Han Solo traits from him. And it was really good him seeing Leia again. And I like how during the scene, before they're about to hug, 3PO walks in the way and says, "Oh, it's nice to see you, Master Han." And then he turns around to Leia, and Leia's like, "I know who it is." And Leia's like, and 3PO's like, "Oh, okay, then I'll excuse myself." And I thought that was a pretty funny scene. 3PO is awesome, okay? And also, Chewie is hilarious in this movie, especially in that scene where, he gets hurt, and Finn's all like, "He's trying to rip my arm off." And he's like, and Chewie like pulls him in, and Finn's like, "That's okay." I really find that scene really funny, and I especially love that scene where when after Han gets stabbed, we see Chewie roar in pain, because we feel like Chewie just lost his best friend, and he shot Kylo right in the abdomen as a way of saying, "I don't care if you're my best friend's son, you just murdered my best friend, I'm gonna get some payback on you." And I really felt bad for Chewie, and seeing Harrison Ford and Chewie interact was great. And also, I really loved Han's arc in this movie, about him being all like, "I found my son again, but I don't know if I'm ready to come out and tell him I love him." And it's a really nice scene between both Han and Kylo Ren. And I especially love how during this scene, at first, Kylo is in the blue. Like, the background behind Kylo is blue, making you think, oh, he's going to turn to the light side. But then, soon later, the color background changes to red, showing that he's going to turn to the dark side. And it's kind of hard to watch, seeing how Han is one of our favorite characters. And let's talk about the new cast. All of them are great, and they have great chemistry with one another. John Boyega is fantastic in this movie, and I love him as Finn. In fact, Finn is one of my favorite Star Wars characters because of John Boyega. He has great comedic timing, he has great interactions between the cast, and he's just a perfect in this movie. I especially love his opening scene in this film. Without saying words, we know what type of person Finn is. When he's on his first mission, he is the only one who can't fire a blaster, because he doesn't want to kill innocent people. And we see that when he takes off his helmet for the first time, he cannot handle it. He wants to get away as far as he can from the First Order. And it shows that stormtroopers aren't just mindless drones. In fact, it kind of reminds me of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, where there are episodes about these clones who were deserters. And it reminds me of that in a way, which is a good thing, because it shows that these soldiers aren't just blind people who are just willing to follow orders no matter what. They are human beings with emotion, and Finn definitely has emotions. I especially love his interactions with Poe. Their chemistry is great, and they really feel like best friends. As soon as Finn and Poe meet and they're on the TIE Fighter, I see them becoming friends almost instantly. In fact, Poe even gives Finn his name, and it's just a nice scene to watch. You feel like they are friends instantly. And I also love Daisy Ridley in this movie. I almost said Disney, but still, I think Daisy Ridley did a great job in this film. She was definitely a good new character. I do like Rey, and I'll explain why I like Rey in just a second. When it comes to the whole Rey is a Mary Sue thing, I personally don't see it, because, for one, when it comes to her being able to kill off stormtroopers, I mean, that's kind of an easy thing to do in Star Wars. I mean, stormtroopers are easy to kill. It's a common knowledge in Star Wars. Second off, when it comes to her being able to fight so well when she's on Jakku, well, I don't know about you guys, but if I was someone who was abandoned on a desert planet from birth, on a desert planet with people who want to hurt me, I would defend myself. I would learn how to defend myself in case of people trying to attack me. And when it comes to her being able to fly a ship, I don't see the problem. I mean, she says in the movie, I have flown ships before, just never off the planet. Like, I'm just saying. And also, we can apply that to the original trilogy as well. I mean, we never saw Luke fly an X-Wing. We've been told he's been able to fly, but we've never been shown it until the Battle of Death Star. So, yeah, I don't see the problem here. And also, by your logic, aren't we forgetting the fact that in Episode 4, A New Hope, Vader is Anakin Skywalker, the greatest star pilot in the galaxy? By all logic, Vader should have been able to blow up Luke. So, yeah, we should have been complaining there, but we don't because it's a good scene. So, I don't see the problem here. I mean, I love Luke and A New Hope, but still, it's kind of a hypocritical point in my opinion. And now, let's talk about the two final characters that we need to talk about for this part of the video. Poe Dameron. Poe doesn't do much in the movie since he's barely in the film. But I still really like him. Oscar Isaac is a really good character. As soon as you see him on screen, I'm like, okay, I want to be friends with this dude. He's super charming, super likable, and his relationship with Finn was nice to see. Especially, and they show us that he's the best star pilot in the Resistance. He's just really dang good. And now, let's talk about the best character they've added to the cast. Kylo Ren. He is such a well-done character. At first, you might think, oh, he's just another Darth Vader wannabe. But that's the point. He idolizes Darth Vader and wishes he can become like Darth Vader. He wishes he can be Vader. But he's not at all. We see the conflict in him when he tries to kill Han. He doesn't want to, but he wants to make sure that he can be seen as the new Darth Vader. In fact, he wears this the helmet as like a fashion statement, being like using what. But here's the thing: with Vader, he had to wear that suit in order to survive. It was like war wounds, permanent scars that could never leave a person. But with Kylo, he is using what Vader did to make him look mean, make him look intimidating, to use fear to haunt people in the Resistance. And his confession to Han is such a good scene, and Adam Driver is perfect. I'm just saying right now, Kylo is the best new character in the Star Wars universe that they've added in this new trilogy. I love Kylo Ren. He is in my top 3 of Star Wars characters, along with Anakin, and also Obi-Wan Kenobi. And we'll get more on why Kylo is so awesome in the Last Jedi review. And then, of course, there's the action. It is amazing. It is probably some of the best action we've seen in Star Wars yet. Every fighter's chase, every air battle is amazing, especially the one on tackling Starkiller Base. I'm not gonna lie, when they first said Starkiller Base, I kind of got flashbacks to Star Wars: The Force Unleashed that has a character Starkiller. I'm sorry about that edit. My phone was being a jerk to me. So anywho, but anyway, one last thing I want to talk about with this movie is the lightsaber fight. I love how dark and gritty it is. It doesn't feel choreographed like, say, in the prequel trilogy. No, it feels like an honest-to-God hard fight. As we slowly see, like, in a matter of seconds, Kylo has Finn on the ground. It feels like a street fight. It feels dirty. It feels messy, and I love it so dang much for it. And we see how, like, those shoulder blades are, like, cutting into Finn's shoulder, and then he, like, slices his spine right open. It is a miracle that Finn is still alive. But anywho, overall, I can go on and on why I adore The Force Awakens. But I absolutely adore it. In fact, screw it. I'm giving this movie a 10 out of 10. It's a masterpiece. I adore this movie, and I will always love this film. Sorry, my... But anywho, join me tomorrow as we take a look at The Last Jedi. See you all later, and good day.